Good evening and welcome to the SVG-TV news for Tuesday, November 30th. I'm Khalil Cato with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has extended solidarity greetings to the government and people of Barbados on the occasion of the country becoming a republic. In a letter sent to Prime Minister Mia Mottley yesterday, Prime Minister Gonsalves expressed regret that he was unable to attend the event due to certain exigent circumstances, but said he sent his firstborn son, Camilo Gonsalves, Minister of Finance and Economic Development, to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines and him personally. Prime Minister Gonsalves noted that Barbados, led by Prime Minister Mottley, is completing the vital task of crossing the final threshold towards full nationhood in the strategic quest of uplifting and further ennobling Barbados and the Caribbean civilization in every material particular. He said the achievement of a parliamentary republic with its homegrown non-executive president is a great cause, noting that great causes have never been won by doubtful men and women. According to PM Gonsalves, the contemporary critics of republicanism in Barbados and other Caribbean countries who continuously embrace sideshows and ignore main events will make their splash on this or that social media platform or seek to delay progress before this or that domestic tribunal, and they will pass into historical nothingness. Pointing to other CARICOM countries that have a republican form of government, Prime Minister Gonsalves says he looks forward to such a change in Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Belize, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This country's Teachers Union is stepping up its protest action against the government's vaccination mandate, which requires teachers and other frontline workers to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or risk losing their jobs. In a correspondence dated November 28th, the national executive of the SVG-TU advised its members, vaccinated and unvaccinated, to go to physical and online classes yesterday and today. The union further advised its members not to attend face-to-face and online classes tomorrow and Thursday. However, in an interview today with SVG-TV News, President of the union, Oswald Robinson, said they are asking all teachers to wear black and do a sit-down at their workplaces on these 2 days, and are also requesting that parents and guardians keep their children at home for these 2 days. Robinson said he is asking all to assist in mobilizing in support of this action, especially parents, as he predicts children may soon be told they have to be vaccinated in order to attend school.
We also will be mobilizing our members. Sometime next week, we intend to have a mass picket in Kingston. As soon as that is finalized, we will inform the general public. But for Wednesday and Thursday of this week, we want our teachers to go to school, but no teaching. Those who are scheduled to be online, we want them to do the same thing. No online teaching, no physical teaching. We want to also encourage our parents to be in solidarity with us. It's important that the parents are aware. This time is for the teachers. Soon you're going to hear your children would have to adhere to mandatory vaccination. So we want to work with you at this time to collaborate, to cooperate with you, and that you'll be have quite an understanding as to what we are doing and why we are doing it.
The SVG-TU president also expressed concern over the foot, hand, and mouth disease in some schools, and in addition to the COVID-19 pandemic, noting that the children use the same facilities and everyone could be exposed to these infections.
Then there's the issue of the foot, hand, and mouth disease that we are told are in a number of schools. That again should move parents to keep their children at home. Those schools where you have cases of COVID, we want parents to be even more vigilant. You cannot have COVID in schools and parents have still been asked to send their children in school. This is irresponsible, and it is very unfortunate that those in authority are asking parents to have their children in school where there's incidents of COVID-19. We know for sure that the students use the same washroom. Even if they're not in the same classes, they are using the same washrooms, the same facilities of the pipe at the school. So we want to ask the parents to stand up for your fundamental rights, the safety of your children, and those of you who are guardians, we also want you to be on board as we go forward in unison to say to the authorities that mandatory vaccination is not the way to go.
Asked why the union chose black as the dress code for the sit-in protest, the SVGTU president said black represents a form of sadness and mourning as the rights of teachers are being tampered with.
Well, black is part of our origins in Africa. It is part of our history, our race, that black people continue to struggle. We know that COVID doesn't have any boundaries in terms of color, but we think black represents a form of sadness also. You know, and anything that is coming against your will, your conscience, is a form of mourning that your rights have been tampered with. So that is why we went out to look for black. We didn't want to use a color that is pronounced for any particular group or organization. You know, whenever there's a funeral, when there is sadness, people put on black, generally speaking.
The SVGTU president encouraged teachers to stand firm with the union, noting that they face a difficult road ahead. President of the National Fisherfolk Organization, Winsbert Harry, is appealing to the government to assist local fishermen with a rebate on gas. In a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, Harry lamented about the impact the increase in gas prices is having on fishermen, noting that it is time officials met with fisherfolk to see how they can assist them with a rebate as one immediate solution to their plight.
And the government, if they could give the fisherfolk rebate and gas, so we could make something when we risk our life going out to sea, because rebate and gas could help us. Because very soon the nation will have to pay more for fish because the gas will be going up, and we the fisher folks will like to ask the nation to pay more for fish because we know the situation with COVID and with the volcano. So we are asking the authorities if they could give us fisher folks in St. Vincent rebate back and the gas, because I think the gasoline is really killing us. If you go to the Kingston fish market right now, you could see a low landing in fish. And I think if fishing is one of the high priority and the demands to meet the demands of the foreign companies, local companies, and we will not be able to meet the demands of these companies if the fuel price keep climbing and raising, because we will not be able to fish, because we will not be able to meet our expense. We will be just catching the fish and going home with anything.
Harry said for years fishermen have not raised the price for fish and have taken the loss as gas prices increased steadily. He noted that fishermen risk their lives daily to fish and may soon not be able to meet the demand for export markets if nothing is done to assist them with gas prices, which he said is choking them financially.
The boat we fishing in is 26 feet in length and covered by a 75 horsepower engine. Majority of these fishing vessels burn at least $75,000 a year in gasoline. And that was when the gas was reasonable, but now the gas is very high. Fisher folks are now burning up to $100 and something thousand a year in gasoline. And very soon, I will not see the fisher folks keeping up. And to meet the demands of the local market and also the export market, and to feed our family as a whole.
The Ministry of Health is commencing several projects to help combat non-communicable diseases in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Addressing the launch of the updated food-based dietary guidelines, Minister of Health Sinclair Prince outlined some of the projects that the ministry will be taking on to help decrease the high number of NCDs in the country.
Wellness and the Environment has several other projects in addition to the food-based dietary guidelines to help combat the fight against NCDs, including the Project for the Prevention and Control of Diabetes, which was launched in 2018 with aid from our partners in Taiwan. St. Vincent and the Grenadines now has a high rate of childhood overweight and obesity triggered by unhealthy diets, high in sugars, trans fats and sodium found in ultra-processed food products leading to other NCDs. It is also evident that Vincentians are turning away from traditional wholesome foods and are consuming more and more of these ultra-processed foods. We are confronting this situation in part through our school feeding program and the Zero Hunger Trust Fund by providing meals for primary school-aged children throughout the nation. Mention must also be made of Bright Start for the initiative as a private organization working under the guidance of the Nutrition Unit to provide wholesale breakfast meals for school children from the primary level right up to the college level who are now homebound owing to the exponential rise in COVID-19 cases. To further combat these problems, the Child and Nutrition Policy and the School Nutrition Policy are being developed to guide the government and the population in addressing unhealthy eating habits among our children. As we traverse these challenging times of the rising scourge of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, and the COVID-19 pandemic, we hope these messages, the second National Food-Based Dietary Guidelines and adjoining materials, will be used as stepping stones to produce a healthier St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The World Pediatric Project, WPP, will be embarking on a healthy lifestyle road trip on December 4th and 11th. Executive Director of the WPP for SVG and the Eastern Caribbean, Lauren McIntosh, said the road trip is to offer psychosocial support to residents of the communities which were affected by the volcanic eruption.
WPP, our focus remains pediatric critical care, whether it's diagnostic and surgical care to children in the Eastern Caribbean, and more specifically to St. Vincent. But in this instance, what we've realized is that as a result of the volcanic eruption, some of our families, be it that they were displaced or they just need the support. And we're hoping to cover various topics, whether it is on parenting, self-care, mental health, anything like that. Wherever the families need the support, we will have a team on the ground offering that psychosocial support to them.
So on these days, what would this support look like? How would the participants benefit from this?
So the participants, everybody's welcome, right? Obviously, COVID protocols are going to be strictly implemented, so we're going to make sure that we have hand sanitizing and we can only allow a certain amount of people in the venue at any given time. That being said, we hope that we're able to actually have the psychosocial support where we will have counselors and psychologists available to have one-on-one discussions or in group sessions as well, smaller groups of course. Now in addition to that, we will also have information available on the World Pediatric Project and everything that we do, and the Ministry of Health will also have a booth where they will be offering whether it's the vaccine or if you have any questions on COVID-19 as well as testing.
Meanwhile, the WPP recently made a donation of medical supplies to the pediatric ward of the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital as it continues with its medical missions. The Public Health Department is requesting that all persons who are desirous of slaughtering animals for sale during the Christmas season contact their district environmental health officer or the Public Health Department at 456-1991 by Friday, December 17th for registration and further information. The department is also reminding butchers and others that slaughtering of animals should be done under hygienic conditions approved by the department, and that the meat offered for sale should be stored in a manner that protects it from the elements of weather and against contamination such as flies and dust. All slaughtermen and butchers are also asked to ensure that they have a valid food handler certificate, with meat inspections for the season being conducted between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Under the Public Health Act No. 9 of 1977, no person shall sell or expose for sale or bring into any market or have in his possession any meat for man in a tainted, adulterated, diseased, or unwholesome state, or which is not fit for food. As a result, meat that is offered for sale that is not inspected or met or met the requirements of the Public Health Department may be subject to condemnation. Butchers and slaughtermen are also advised to follow all COVID-19 protocols during the slaughtering and sale of meat and follow the meat inspection guidelines. A book which provides a different perspective on the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Stories from Our Indian Elders, was launched virtually on Sunday using the Zoom platform. The virtual launching ceremony was addressed by Minister of Education Curtis King, who applauded the author of the book, Donald Lenroy Thomas, for showing the other side of the historical narrative of the people of SVG.
It is very clear to those of us interested in constructing the type of post-colonial society that I referred to earlier, that we have come to recognize that a significant component of this construction or reconstruction process must be the recording of our history from the perspective of our people. Too much of what we know about ourselves and country, we have learned from the Eurocentric perspective, which has dominated so much of the history of the countries in the Americas. This European perspective has never been kind to our people. It has basically relegated our people to mere spectators in the historical process. According to this Eurocentric view, the Kalinago, Garifuna, Africans, Indians, they played no meaningful role in the progressive development of the colonial society. Hence, there are no need to record what is not there. So this is the sort of historical distortions that small developing country like ours must seek to correct so that our people would get a better understanding of their past and use that understanding of their past to guide them on their way forward.
In reference to the book, Stories from Our Indian Elders, Minister King said it is a very important piece of work with great value to SVG's Indian Heritage Foundation.
It is the most valuable source of primary and secondary information that is of great help in recording our history. Our history from the perspective of our people. And I have not completed the reading of the book, but those stories I read, you take, for example, the one from Walter Backus, and listen to how he speaks about India with great joy. Because, and I'm trying to quote here from the book, because he has given it from his own perspective that I believe he would have obtained from his parents and others. Lying on the edge of the known wall and people by half savages. You hear? India, even then, had its fine cities, splendid buildings, and temples, untold riches. That was India. This is where my roots are. You get the sense of pride. You get the sense of a willingness to identify with his background, if you like, with his home. And that is what I'm saying. We must write in such a way that our people should feel a sense of pride, knowing fully where they come from was also great. And that would guide us on our way forward.
The book features interviews with local Vincentian elders, which are preceded by a background on the historical situation that existed both in India and St. Vincent before the Indians embarked on their journeys to the Caribbean. They are followed by a periodic review of the narratives and an analysis on available records while looking at the current situation in St. Vincent and India and future possible relationships. Other speakers at the virtual launch included historian and social commentator Dr. Adrian Fraser, Consul of India to SVG and President of the SVG Indian Heritage Foundation, Junior Backus, Treasurer of the Foundation, Cheryl Rodriguez, and author of the book, Donald Lenroy Thomas. The book is available for purchase locally at several bookstores and online. Members of the Alpha Corporation Theatre Group copped several titles and trophies in this year's National Theatre Arts Festival. Javed D'Souza was awarded Best Skit. The Best Actor award went to Jay-Z Lewis. Best Female Monologue and Best Actress award went to Lafayette Johnson, and the Best Actor in a Supporting Role went to Kieron Phillips. The monologues and skits for the group were written and directed by CEO of the Alpha Corporation, Javed D'Souza. The other awards presented were Best Spoken Word Female, Zena Lewis, Best Spoken Words Male, Adrian Constance, Best Male Monologue, Gabriel Frederick, Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Julie Peters, Best Director and Costume, Stanley Johnson, and Best Makeup and Best Use of Music and Sound, Kevin Rodriguez. The National Theatre Arts Festival commenced on November 6th and concluded on Sunday. In a police-related matter, Sildon Cato, a 27-year-old laborer of Dixon Village, Georgetown, was arrested and charged with the offense of attempted murder. The police say investigations carried out revealed that yesterday the accused allegedly struck a 31-year-old laborer of Spring Village, Georgetown, with a stone in his face. Cato is expected to appear before the Serious Offences Court for arraignment.